please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call roll, please.
Brown? Here. Evans?
Here.
Foodie?
Here.
Grattan?
Here.
Morose? Here. Schuster?
Here.
Okay, first item of business would be agenda approval. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Brown, second by Schuster. Any further discussion, questions, or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approve minutes of previous meetings?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Grattan, second by Morose. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approve minutes of intervening meetings. Motion by Schuster, second by Grattan. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public appearances, citizens' comments. Let the record show there is nobody in attendance. Next, we have communications. Anything from the clerk?
Nope.
I have nothing to report. Next, we have approved payments of bills, checks for $165,767.04. No vouchers, electronic transfers of $221,743.64. Is there a motion to approve the checks and vouchers?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Brown, second by Evans. Further discussion.
I saw a check to World Payroll System. I just drew a blank.
ADP.
ADP. How long will that be till that's phased out? Just a question.
ADP fees should be done.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
Very
so
good.
we'll have, bank fees now,
Mm-hmm.
through F&M Bank, so you'll see those listed on there
Okay.
separate, or instead of the ADP, you'll see the bank fees.
Nice. Okay.
Yep, yep.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Brown?
Aye.
Evans?
Aye.
Foodie?
Aye.
Grattan?
Aye.
Morose? Aye. Schuster?
Aye.
Payment of bills have been approved. Reports of officials. Discuss take possible action regarding the property at 270 East Kent Street. It's been an ongoing issue here. We do have a local resident that would like to acquire the property, but we seem to have a stumbling block with the county. Our legal counsel, Mr. Griggs, and their legal counsel been in contact, but they invited us to a meeting on Thursday evening that neither one of us could attend. And now Mr. Mulkey's kind of upset because now we're back in the same mode again that they did nothing with it. They took no action on it whatsoever. So I'd like this committee to at least consider directing our legal counsel to recommend on the city's behalf that we support the county selling this piece of property to Mr. Mulkey so that he can begin cleanup on it as soon as possible. And as far as our financial assistance, I would recommend that we refund the city's portion of the taxes for the delinquent period of the 4 years or whatever that's at. It's gonna be under $1,000, at least to get this thing moving off center. Because I think we're in a situation right now where there is essentially some liability for the city. We do have a distressed piece of property down there that's open to kids and what have you. So the sooner we could get it in somebody else's hands, the sooner we could get the liability off the city's back, or the potential liability. And it would give this gentleman an opportunity, even if it takes him forever to clean it up. So what? At least if 10% is cleaned up in 5-10 years, that's 10% more than what's gonna be done right now. Because we're just sitting on our hands, not doing anything with this piece of property. So that's my recommendation, since I heard that they took no action on the property at all. I guess it was one of the first items in the agenda. I got there late, so, and Mr. Mulkey had already left. So he's perturbed, that the city wasn't there to represent ourselves in this, but Our attorney clearly has had conversation with them, and he's even gotten a written email, and I'll let you elaborate on that.
Sure. I've explained all along that I don't think the city should ever be in the chain of ownership because I think that's where you have the potential exposure. But I agree with the recommendation that I'll write another letter saying we're fully in support of selling to Mr. Mulkey and that we're in favor of cleaning up and prefer that cleanup to be faster rather than slower, but whatever time period it takes, he should get it cleaned up. The city will agree to refund the delinquent taxes, and I agree that I expect that will be a figure of $1,000 or thereabouts, maybe less. And that the city fully supports selling it to him, and I think that's the way to go, and I can get that letter out. I have time to work on it tomorrow, so happy to send it. I've expressed essentially that position in the past. She's acknowledged she understands our position as far as not wanting to be in the chain of ownership. That's where I think we do have a exposure, but certainly it's to the city's benefit to get it cleaned up, and he seems like an individual who is willing to undertake that process, apparently in a painstakingly deliberate manner as far as doing it by hand, trying to salvage the shingles. Apparently you can recycle the better conditioned shingles, and there is a market for that, and so I'll express that position. And I do think she orally understands that, and she's reiterated some of that in emails back and forth, but we'll express that again. I don't think that does any harm to do it. I think that's beneficial to put out such a letter, and I'll do that.
So do you think that the back taxes was the barrier of them selling it directly?
No, I think they prefer, for whatever reason, they have an idea that it should go to the city, and then the city should enter into this agreement. I can't get behind that idea because I don't think that's in the city's best interest for the reasons I've already expressed. But the alternative is you would have a sale. The sale means Mr. Mulkey could bid, you could bid, anybody can bid at the sale. And I think the concern is, what if he didn't get it? And but I think if you, perhaps if you can get the city behind an agreement where you assure them in writing that you'll give them back your part of the taxes and that you're in favor of Mr. Mulkey getting it, I think that may enhance the prospect that he could get it, hopefully not be outbid by somebody else. But if he does get outbid by somebody else, maybe they clean it up too.
They probably are obligated to follow their process.
Well, and they're obligated to take the best bid, which is the highest bid in this case.
So if he bids $1, somebody else bids $2.
Right.
Goes to somebody we don't know, you know.
But
Right.
then there's no agreement, if he doesn't get it, there's not an agreement to clean it up
The-
with the next person.
The benefit of him getting it is he's assured you he'll clean it up.
Right.
And he's asking he's got it in black and white to us in a handwritten letter, which you probably all read. He's not asking for any financial assistance at all. He understands he's gonna start paying property tax on this from year one.
Right.
So, you know, to me, it's a win-win situation for both the city and the county. I know the county wants to suck the city in as a partner in this. And I said from the get-go, from the first time I sat across from the two people from the county, I said, as long as I sit in this chair, it's not gonna happen, because I said, I know how that goes. It's the county's property to do with what they feel. But I'm thinking this is the best thing to get them to move off dead center. Otherwise, they're just gonna sit and let the delinquent taxes ride, and the issue doesn't get cleaned up. It's to everybody's advantage if the gentleman thinks he can do it. I don't know why he wants to take it on, but I admire his attempt to do it, and Dave knows him better than anybody, and he thinks he will accomplish the task, and if in 10 years it's still but a quarter done, that's a quarter more than what's been being done right now.
Right.
And the county's not gonna take it back from him if he's paying taxes, so he'll continue to try and clean it up at a pace that he can handle with the equipment that he can handle, and he's done a lot of research on it. He told me that he's found a person that will hide these old shingles as long as the nails and the wood is removed from it, so.
And arguably, if all he pays is $1 plus the city's refund of back taxes, he won't pay much in taxes because he could make the argument that the fair market value of the property is what he paid for it.
True.
So,
True.
may not be much in tax revenue.
No, No, but like I said, at least somebody's gonna make an attempt, because nobody else is gonna take over that property without asking for financial assistance from somebody.
How does this play into the county's process that they have to follow? Us sending them a letter and saying you can have the city's portion of the taxes does not deter them from doing what they have to do legally, does it? at
No,
all?
they don't have to ascribe to that agreement. They could say, nope, we're just gonna sell it to the highest bidder. Now, it's quite conceivable that this isn't a very attractive property. When I say you could bid, you could bid, you could bid, I don't think anybody else would be probably interested in that. So it's quite likely you'd be the only bidder, but you don't know that. But no, of course, they don't have to ascribe to this agreement. Their alternative is simply to say, look, we're gonna let it go to a sale, but understand if it goes to a sale, hopefully they have a bidder. If they don't have a bidder, the county gets it, but if they have a bidder, it goes to whoever the high bidder is. But then the risk, the risk that you have is it could go potentially to somebody who pays more than he will and doesn't clean it up. That said, you would think anybody that gets this property, you can't do anything with it unless you clean it up. So, I do think your chances are enhanced if we send a letter and if we try again to see if they'll agree to this. I think that's the best for everybody. But they don't have to agree.
So what are the back taxes for? Is it an incentive for the county to?
Yeah.
It's an incentive for the county?
Yeah. At least we're contributing somewhat to that effect. And we're getting our 10 or 12% back on the, what was it, $1,100 property tax for 4 years or whatever it's been. So it's gonna be very little. But at least that's usually what the county goes after.
Right.
When they look to recoup some of their money, they say, hey, this is going for a loss, we're looking at, I don't think they're gonna have any luck going to Marine Park or going to the school system or whatever, getting that portion back, and we have no control over that portion. We only can control the portion that we pay.
Right.
And the biggest benefit, it doesn't go back to city ownership.
All right,
Yeah, you don't want that.
you get in that chain, and everybody's responsible that's in that chain
When there's
for cleaning up of that property.
Right, when there's environmental cleanup, anybody who's been in the chain of ownership has exposure. So you don't want to be in that chain of ownership.
So at least this, again, Cheryl, you make a good point. Nothing says, oh, heck with Juneau, if they're not gonna partner with us to get this thing cleaned up. Letter means nothing to them, but at least we're showing that we support one of our local residents trying to get this cleaned up and trying to put it back on the tax rolls again.
Right.
Have we sent a letter already saying that we supported Mr. Mulkey having it without the tax payback?
We have, well, yeah, without the tax payback. We've said we would like it if he would buy it, we would like it if he would clean it up.
Did we put it in letter form?
Oh, email form, but I think we should reiterate it again. And what we haven't pointed out in letter form is that we would refund all the taxes. We've had a little discussion of that here, but we haven't put that in letter form. So that would be new in this letter. But I think that's a reasonable concession to make.
It doesn't put anything on us further because now we become party with the county by saying we'll give our portion back?
They can
Is
go
it
after-
an indirect, a dotted line to us then?
No, they go after the owners, not the people that refund taxes or the entities that refund taxes.
The world's a funky place right now.
It is a funky- that's
It's just a
true.
very funky place right now. I just,
Right.
yeah.
So returning the taxes would wash our hands of the past, that we didn't know nothing was happening, and
Right.
now we're getting it back.
Well, it's more of an olive branch.
Branches. Yeah.
Saying that, hey,
Right.
we should share in your loss here.
Right,
you
these
know.
taxes
This
weren't
is our
paid.
this is our share of the loss.
Right. They're collecting these taxes, but not all the taxes are due to Dodge County. They're also due to the city, they're due to the schools and all that. And so it's equitable that you would share that loss. Nobody's getting their taxes. So you were paid for that, and now you're just refunding what you were paid that really wasn't paid by anybody.
because during that 4-year period of delinquency, the county gave checks though.
They gave checks, but they didn't
gave all
get
the
any
checks,
money.
They didn't get anything.
They didn't get anything. So otherwise, they're bearing the whole burden, which isn't equitable. It should be pro rata based on what your share of the taxes were. And so it is equitable that you would refund that. Now, as you point out, will the school district refund it? Very unlikely, no, because they don't really, it doesn't affect them if this property gets cleaned up. Maybe if the property were right next to them, maybe. Still doubtful.
How long would the county normally wait before they do something with it?
Well, they wait, generally people can go about 4 years before there's a foreclosure for taxes. Not a good idea, because what happens is the county can also charge all kind of very high interest rate and penalties and everything else, so nobody should ever fall that far behind, but that's about where they are as far as foreclosure actions. So you could go about 4 years without paying your taxes before you get foreclosed upon. But they would grow much larger because they'd add all these taxes and all this interest and penalties, and bad way to go. Eventually they get the property back and it's on.
That's where this property is right now, correct?
Right.
Swear.
It's going to foreclosure.
Foreclosure, though, a lot of times we think of foreclosures in terms of bank foreclosures. Well, that's when somebody doesn't pay their mortgage payment, but you can also get foreclosed upon if you don't pay your taxes. Now, some people escrow their taxes and their mortgage payment.
So how long does that process take?
Well, a bank's not gonna let you go very far at all. They're gonna send you nasty letters and write to cures after 60 days, most banks will, and they'll get moving on it. But the county, you can go about 4 years before they'll foreclose on you.
And then once they foreclose, how long does that process take?
Oh, it's faster than a bank foreclosure, 3 or 4 months.
So then after 3 or 4 months,
Then there's a tax sale,
then they put it up for sale the same way that we're talking about.
Just like this.
Right?
right? Yeah. This one, I think they poked around with a little longer because they've tried to figure out what to do.
Because they tried to roll the city.
Well, they're more excited about foreclosing on a nice house where there's no issue, they're gonna get everything back. Most of the time they do. It's rare that you have a situation where you have a property that is this distressed that they're not gonna come, they're talking about selling it for $1. Name one other property you can think of that could sell for $1. If you could buy a property for $1, there's something wrong with the property.
Yeah, just taking round numbers, if the taxes on that property were $1,100 a year for all the taxable entities, we're at about 12% of that, so you're probably talking about $500 here, $600 for the city's portion of the taxes. And I think that's good to show the county that, hey, we'll give you back our portion of the taxes. We know you're between a rock and a hard place right now.
It's just good to move it along.
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't advertised and tried to sell it yet, have they?
No, that'll be the next step. There'll be a sale and anybody can bid, and you might say you might double them and go $2. You got a lot of work.
Right.
Any other questions, thoughts? I think it's just good to move forward with it, and rather than just sitting on it, because Dick, they might sit on it for 10 years. They don't have to take action on it. They'll just sit on it.
And even if we take this, they still can sit on it for 10 years.
Yeah,
Absolutely. But we're showing something to say, maybe on your agenda, you can look at this property and get this going. I don't know.
and if we stand behind him and say, hey, we think it's a good idea that you take him up on this offer. I mean, like I said, 10 years from now, if it's only half done,
Right.
so what? They're not gonna take it back from him, especially if he's been paying taxes. His plan is to keep going with it, And doing it manually, as Mr. Grigg said, it's gonna take him a while.
So
Yeah.
could we pay our portion of the taxes back contingent on them actually going through with a auction?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the way you wanna
Yeah,
word it. That's the
the
way you wanna word it.
The agreement is,
Yeah.
you're only doing this if they accept this.
Yeah.
But you're offering them some financial incentive to do it. And you know, they wanna get rid of this property too, because they'd like it to be productive and on the tax rolls, even if it's not generating much in the way of tax revenue. At least get it on the path to being productive property. There's really no downside risk to the city in sending this letter, and it might lead to some upside gain. And it also, I think, part of the problem you've had in this is that some of what's been communicated, you haven't been part of that communication always, and it's been misconstrued at times, and it helps clear up that misconception. And that, I think, is the other positive. Because sometimes it sounds like behind your back, they're sort of saying, well, the city could be more supportive. Well, and this shows you're being supportive. And I think you've been supportive all along, but this expresses it again, and we'll express it well.
So you're looking for a motion, right?
Yes.
We need a motion. I'll make a motion that, Attorney Craig composes a letter to be sent to Dodge County regarding this property and to the effect that we will pay the taxes.
City's portion.
The city's, I'm sorry, the city's portion of the back taxes, and that we support Mr. Mulkey's
Desire to clean the property up.
to
Oh, and clean.
clean it up. I made the motion.
Second.
Motion by Rose, second by Footy. Any further discussion? I just think it's a step in the right direction, and maybe we'll get them to move off dead center.
Do we want some verbiage in there about contingency on them actually having a sale?
Yeah.
Or an auction?
Right. Assuming it actually goes to Mr. Moore.
Bless you.
But can we do that? Can we say that can we designate who we want to have buy it?
Well, you can express your preference, and the reason why it's your preference is you have confidence that he is going to take action to clean it up. You don't share that confidence necessarily with other buyers because they haven't expressed that indication.
I understand that. My question is that, can we do that?
Yes.
Can we say,
Is it ethical to do
this is
that?
a deal,
Right.
as long as this guy gets it?
It is, but the reason is, it's not because you have a special affinity for this guy. It's because this guy has represented to you that he's going to clean it up, and you don't have that assurance from any other potential buyer.
Okay.
Now, if you had another potential buyer that was making that assurance as well, then you would be stating in the agreement that to Mr. Mulkey or to this other buyer, whoever would pay more. But you don't have that. The only person you're aware of is Mr. Mulkey.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you wanna put in there the support of a local resident doing this and having a plan of attack already in place to get it done, which according to Dave, he's done a lot of research already on it and bought some equipment to do it and what have you as well. So.
Yeah. So all that warrants in favor of selling it to him.
As well as several months back, the county agreed with his proposal that his proposal was acceptable for cleanup.
Right. And at this point, nobody's aware of anyone else who's expressed any interest.
Correct.
Okay,
So,
motion by Moreau, second by Footy. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Burrows,
Aye.
Foodie,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Evans,
Aye.
Bratton.
I would like to say yes, but I feel I should abstain because I'm in the middle of it.
Okay, and Schuster.
All right.
Okay. Approved taking action on 270 East Oak Street has been, or East Kent Street has been approved. Thank you, people. Clerk Treasurer, anything to report?
Couple things, just wanted to give you an update, we're starting the preparation for the August election. The domain change is ready for the email addresses, we're still waiting on Javis to help implement that. So website will be, www.cityofjuneau.wi.gov. Same with your email addresses. That was, like I said prior, a requirement from the elections committee, so we're almost done with that. I will keep you all posted. Still gonna help you put in a ticket for your computer today.
I need a lot of help.
Scott and I put out some requests for purchase for garbage and recycling service. He dropped off packets to finance, so I gave you some time to take a look at that before our next meeting. So we sent the RFP to 4 different companies, and all 4 of them returned, quotes. So if anybody wants to see that didn't get a packet, just let me know and I'll give you guys one. And the ARPA funds through Dodge County, we're still in the game. Kim reached out again with additional questions, so really hoping. So that's all I have.
There's a nice package you put together. I didn't get a chance to really break it down, but that's a lot of helpful information as far as that garbage contractor.
Good, perfect.
Any other questions for Megan? Seeing none. Written reports. Any questions on building permit report, police department report, Juneau Fire and Rescue, or the Juneau EMS report? No questions. Moving on. Reports of committees, commissions, and boards. We have our favorite librarian or library director, John.
Not the favorite librarian, just the favorite director. Got it. Okay. So, yeah, watch it. I know. So this is just one of several photo props that we have in the library. Oceans of Possibilities is our theme this year. And we launched our summer reading adventure on June 6th, and it's 8 solid weeks strong. So we're on week 2, and if you haven't stopped in the library, do so. We have transformed it into an ocean, and we have had several people sign up already, but you didn't have to sign up by June 6th. You can sign up anytime, and there's plenty of time yet to achieve your reading goals and be eligible for prizes. Before the meeting, I just gave you some handouts. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I am happy to announce that we have sponsors for all 4 of our Centerfield Cinema movie nights. Last Friday, Yonkie's Piggly Wiggly sponsored our first movie of the summer, and we watched Shrek, the original Shrek. Because dusk does not happen until 9 at night. Our movie started at 9 and went until 10:30. But we had roughly about 35 people there, which I thought was a good start. And now with a lineup, we're hoping that it just builds. I just confirmed today that Andrew Meehan, with a financial advisor with Edward Jones, is sponsoring July's movie. And we are watching the original Jurassic Park, which I think is one of his favorite movies. So, anyway, mark your calendar. Always the 2nd Friday of the month. We have Future All-Stars sponsoring August, and we have Groton Garages sponsoring September. So, mark your calendars. Going along with that ocean theme, tomorrow we have a balloon workshop. Kids can come and blow up the long balloons and twist them and learn how to make ocean creatures. They'll go home with 3 creations that they made themselves. And of course, that's the public library, so that's free of charge. That program starts at 4. And then the following day, Thursday the 16th, we are partnering with the Juneau Victorians 4-H Club. You don't have a handout in front of you, but they were inspired by the library having a peep tasting event in April around Easter time, where we had a variety of peeps available and you had to guess what they were. So since June is Dairy Month, they're going to have cheese tasting. So they'll have various cheeses unidentified, and you'll guess which is which. And they're going to be at our library from 11 in the morning until 6 at night on Thursday, running their cheese tasting booth. One more program that we have in June is Pirates Lost at Sea. That is an organization that is coming from Madison, and they incorporate science and storytelling. So it's all based on pirates, but the kids are going to learn about the science of the water cycle and things like that. And they'll have they'll need to rescue the pirates. So it sounds like a fun interaction thing for the children. That is June 29th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And you may or may not be aware that Yankees Piggly Wiggly is using their roundup at the register for the Juneau Public Library. So thank you for all of you community members that are rounding up on behalf of the Juneau Public Library. And then this weekend, I believe it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the brat fry and the burger fry at the deli benefits the library as well. So make sure Thursday, Friday, or Saturday you're grabbing lunch there. And last but not least, I think I told you that we have a shark that's being hidden throughout the community. Every week he is in a different watery location. And there's not a lot of water in Juneau, so he's really being creative in where he's hanging out. But there's a QR code on this shark if you find him. Clues are on Facebook, our website, and on paper in the library. Once you scan the QR code, when you find him, you enter our contest through a form that it takes you to. You could potentially be the one winner that wins our Feeding Frenzy gift basket. This is just one of 3 that is all of the Feeding Frenzy. Everything is kind of ocean or water related. The candy corn is actually shark teeth. Be creative. I know you see it. But anyway, tell your friends all about it. If you see a shark somewhere in Juneau and he has a QR code attached to him, scan it, because you could be the winner of the Feeding Frenzy gift basket. So any questions for your library director? We love summer and we love keeping everyone busy.
Questions? Thank you, Joe.
All right, thank you.
Plan Commission, David.
We did not meet. I was afraid she was gonna take a bite out of it.
Finance Committee, Cheryl.
We did not meet.
Personnel Committee, Kay.
We met and we approved training for both Megan and Kaylee at the Clerk Treasurer Institute. I think it's in Green Bay.
Yep.
But it's virtual, so it
Yep.
doesn't matter. This summer, and certainly talked about additional training that Megan and Kaylee may need in the future that they might bring before us. And we did the 6-month performance eval on Megan, and approved to move her off probation, and I have a resolution to that effect. I touched it. Oh, there it is. So, resolution 21/2022, approved to remove clerk treasurer Megan Buckta from probation. Whereas the Personnel Committee has reviewed the probationary performance review for Megan Buckta, and whereas the Personnel Committee recommends that Megan Buckta be removed from probation effective 5/31/2022, receives the approved step increase to year 2 at $31.75 per hour. Now therefore be it resolved that the common Council, City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of City of Juneau this 14th day of June 2022. I move the passage of resolution 21, 2022.
Second.
Motion by Rose, second by Grattan. Further discussion? Anything to add as far as have we met with Megan?
Met with Megan, and we appreciate all her work and her enthusiasm and coming to Juneau and working with all the department heads and getting to know us and getting to know the city.
Yep.
And we're just happy you're here.
Thank
and,
you.
you know, trying to straighten us up.
I don't know about that.
She's been very helpful on plan commission for agendas and stuff. She works well.
Great.
I agree. I think she's had an overall good impact on our city, and I think she's had a good review from the personnel committee. Other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Merle?
Aye.
Groton?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Evans?
Aye.
Cooley? Aye. And Schuster?
Aye.
Resolution 21, 2022 has passed. Anything else for personnel, Ken?
No, that was about the extent of our meeting.
Public safety, John Way.
We had a pretty lengthy meeting. With wishing citizen be heard, we had Lady Ashley Sigmund talk about changing the ordinance for chickens, housing chickens in Juneau. So she had some good points. So I guess we're gonna kind of push it off to next meeting, so I guess if you guys got any options or opinions, let us know. Discussion was, talk about enforcement rules, lot size, number of birds, fencing, proper housing, you gotta put up a coop. There's no roosters, just chickens for eggs. And we just kind of put it off the next meeting, invite her along to see what, and I know David mentioned maybe a pilot program again, instead of changing, because the ordinance change, it costs money to the city. Right now, there's, not allowed to have chickens in the city of Juneau, so. Thought maybe another pilot program would be helpful, so we'll see. If anybody's got any questions, I guess, public safety meeting this month.
Guess I'd like to ask the city attorney, have you had any experience in that before they go through a full-blown ordinance change? Would a pilot program work in this case? I know we did that.
I think it would
with
work,
outdoor dining.
City of Watertown allows chickens, a lot of cities are doing that, it's pretty common. So I can also take a look to see they have for ordinances on it.
Yeah. There's a lot of question, you have to have enough lot size, and I think they also, you had to okay from your neighbors too. I mean, that could be in the questionnaire. I mean, if your neighbors don't want you to do it.
Right. Now, the big thing is not to have roosters, that's where most of them.
Right, and they said no roosters, just chickens.
Right.
And they're just for eggs, you're not raising them to butcher them, nothing like that, just for eggs is what she mentioned, so.
Right.
Would it be limited to that, John? I mean, as far as, is that what the public safety is looking at, that it only be for
I
egg
think-
raising, nothing for meat birds?
No, she said just for the eggs,
But she openly admitted that you only get about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, you only get about 4 years out of it, and I don't think butchering that, what do you
Well, I
think?
would think so.
But,
Well, it sounded like she took them to a friend and they butchered them and.
yeah,
she
I don't
had
think if you
for
butcher them on,
stew.
Yeah.
in the backyard or whatever, so. Yeah, right.
I think it'd be somewhat difficult to get rid of from neighbors, you'd be pitting neighbors against
Right, so
neighbors, I don't,
we're trying to see what the other cities did, what their rules and regulations were too, so. We're kind of still in the planning stage, so.
what should they do with all of the chicken coop?
Well, that was brought up too, yeah. It's like dog stuff, you put in your dumpster, your garbage dumpster.
What would be the number that you would limit these hens? I mean, 4, 6, 8, what is the
I
number?
think she did have a number too, it
Is
was
that
like,
about 4 to
I
5?
think it depends on the size area you have too,
For
how
a
many you
yard.
could have.
cause you gotta make a coop, and you gotta have heat out there for the winter, electricity and heat for them, so.
So I think the number would depend on your area.
How big a land you got, yeah.
And there was a question of enforcement, who approves the coops, would it be the building inspector?
Yeah.
Oh,
The police chief, or the mayor?
You get a 40-foot wide lot and somebody doesn't maintain their coop or their chicken run, you know, that's a big thing with your budding neighbors, you know, to have to put up with that, especially if there's any odor that goes along with it.
Oh, the massive ones, there is an odor. Lake Mills, they've had tons of complaints about the chicken farms there, but it's a huge chicken
Yeah,
farm.
it's an operation.
It's an operation. But some of the nice houses on Rock Lake, if the wind is blowing from the wrong direction, it smells very badly.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But with a half dozen chickens, you're not gonna have much smell.
So we're kind of wondering, you know, how much participation, I mean, we want to change the order. If one person wants to do it, I mean, I don't think it's worth it, but that's what I thought if we'd have a pilot program, see how many families are interested in doing it.
Right.
And from the number of people that were there, I think more than one family is interested in doing it. It appeared.
Yeah, there was a few more there, nobody else spoke of on
Yeah.
it, but just this one lady did, so.
Well, maybe it could be a joint effort between the building inspector and the police chief. Well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, certainly many other cities have done this, and they probably, we can borrow from their process.
Yeah.
How did they do this? Who
I think they
made sure
said
that
Fox
the-
Lake and Opine, I
Who
think,
met the
recently did it.
requirements?
Well, it all started in Madison and then it just gravitated out.
Coming this way, huh?
They've had it in Madison for quite a while now.
Have they?
Waupun debated it for about a year and a half before they finally pushed it through.
I know they took Fox Lake's ordinance. Cause when I was there, I was working with Hopon, so they duplicated pretty much Fox Lake's permit process, application, ordinance, all that, so.
And was it limited by space, the number they had? Do you remember?
No, I don't think so. I'm trying to remember how many, they only let 5 residences have a chicken permit.
Oh,
So they
In the whole
limited the number
city.
of permits.
Yep,
Okay,
so there's
that's-
5 total,
That's the way to do it.
but I think it was only maybe 5 chickens. I mean, they did limit the number of chickens they could have, but I don't think it was based on size. But they did have to get, neighbors, signatures and all that.
Yeah.
That's part of the process as well.
And if they have to go through plan commission with their plans, you know, and
Yeah.
everything like that, so everybody's gonna get involved, so.
Well, Dave's chairman.
personnel won't get involved.
Probably not, no.
I don't see a way working it.
No, I don't think that
Dave-
will
I
be
think
enough.
that's
Chicken
Dave Brown.
personality.
Depends who has to enforce the rules.
Well, we have a weed
So-
commissioner, so we could maybe have
Chicken
chicken
commissioner?
commissioner.
There you go.
Uh,
So it's kinda in the works,
Moving
so.
on.
Anything else?
Yeah, and then, police chief had out his, monthly report, and he's still very short on crossing guards yet. If anybody interested in being a crossing guard, for like summer school now, I don't think they're having one at Quick Trip, because it's a 4-way stop, so they're kinda limited who they can send around. So if anybody's interested, we're definitely short on them. We went through and approved all the beer and liquor license, I got an ordinance on that later. And the discussion came from the library about the noise complaint about the air conditioning units down there. And Jeanette did bring us some rubbers. I think they're gonna change the mounting, where it mounts on the ground. They're gonna try that first. I don't know if they put them in yet or not, but
Isolation stops.
some isolation to keep the vibration down. They thought maybe that would help. So I guess they're gonna start with that and take some more readings and see if that helps. So I haven't heard if they put them in yet. And then, Dave Groton was there and discussed some action, maybe traffic lanes by East Center and North Main, where they're having trouble getting semis around that corner. And he had some drawings, and, he was gonna send them to MSA and see if they could check that out and see if they think that was possible. Did you hear anything back on that yet, Dave, or not? Nothing yet, huh? Okay, so that was sent up there, because that's kind of a bad intersection there, with that building sticking out so far, and a lot of semis coming up Highway S. And then we also talked about the nuisance process on 328, 330 South Fairfield Avenue. One of the owners, Asher, he was there and talked. He wants to get going on this, but they're having problems getting a hold of the other person, I guess she moved and lives in a motel or something. And we talked to Dave, Chief Beal, about going over and talking to her and seeing if she can get something moving on here. We gotta try to get this thing done. But he's all willing to get going and demo it. He wants to take it all down. So we're still in the final section on that. So-
John, you might wanna look at the municipality magazine, cause there's an article in the municipality this past month on that as well,
Was there?
of properties and what can be done or cannot be done with them, and I believe Wisconsin municipalities may be able to help with that
Sure.
information.
I know that one, he
so-
wants to get going, but
Yeah.
nothing. He said, I can't touch anything because then I get in trouble because she owns half of it, so.
Didn't we approve having legal action start on that though?
Yeah, we gave Dave and told him to start something, and I think he went over and talked to her. I think she lives in a motel in Beaver Dam, I think.
Yeah,
So-
Devon, I forget her last
Yeah,
name.
I'm not sure who it was, but he was gonna go over and talk to her and see if we can get something going here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna come up on a year here in a month or two. And nothing's been done at all. So we told Dave to go ahead and see what he can find out.
What's your advice on the next step?
I think you need to move forward and just condemn it if you can. Let it put your options.
All right, good to the point, like I said, if we can't get cooperation between the two owners on
Mhm.
on a common, well, they were independent parcels, but there's 0 lot lines, so, you know, it's pretty, like John said, it's pretty hard to demo one half without doing the other half.
Cause he said he was worried if he touches some on her side, he can get in trouble too, messing with her,
Right,
her
when it's a
property
0
line.
lot line, yeah.
Yeah, cause they're right next, they're
They're
connected,
basically-
so.
Share a wall.
And he's all willing to get going on this and get it going, but he said, I can't do anything without her help, they're okay.
She has been paid out by her half.
She has.
Yes, Dave seemed to find that out, and he did pay her a visit. So anything she probably made, she's paying nightly rates in a motel where she's staying, so, that's gotta be
That
pretty
makes sense,
costly.
yeah.
Yeah, so.
Mhm.
So if she was paid out for it, does that mean she's let go of that half or not legally?
She still owns it, you know. She was paid
Should
for
we get
Just
damages.
insurance paid her out for, it, yeah.
Right, but she's still the owner of the property,
All right.
so she has an interest and she has to be dealt with.
Even though insurance paid her, insurance doesn't own it, that they paid her off?
Doesn't
Right.
matter.
They just paid her for the damage, but she's still legally the owner of the property,
Okay.
so.
Usually, now, most insurance companies don't even give you a check until there's a rebuilding process
Right.
going on. So, it's kind of amazed me that she got a check if there was no plan of action.
Yeah, which
put in
insurance
place there.
company was involved in this?
I don't know, 2 separate ones.
Two
so-
different ones, so that kinda,
Mhm.
and I think the way he sounded, he was in favor of getting the whole property and rebuilding or something on it.
Yeah.
Cause he talked about demoing and all, I said, well, we said, well, maybe you could just build one house, on what you got there. He was kinda in favor of that, but he says he gets nothing from the other half.
She won't respond.
No, gets nothing from her.
Would she would respond to the city or not really?
I don't know, Dave paid her a visit.
Up to public safety, they didn't know where she was at, so at least now the chief knows where.
I think he found, where she's at. I
From the
think
neighbor.
one of the officers over was gonna stop in there, and she is living there, he said, so.
So there's gotta be some kind of process that we should be able to provide without going through condemnation to get her to respond and take.
Maybe I could write a letter to her explaining that if she doesn't respond and cooperate with us,
Right.
the next step would be condemnation, and so let's try and figure something out.
Yeah.
So if you can get me her contact information.
I'll talk to Dave Beal, get you the information where you think
Yeah.
she's at.
Sure.
He would serve the process anyway for us.
Yeah,
Sure.
write him
Yeah,
up a
that's
letter
great.
and he can serve it or whatever, sure.
Yep.
Okay, I'll talk to Dave on that.
Mhm.
Well, we had a long discussion on that, and then, Dan Zank had out the EMS and Kurt with the fire chief. And that was about our meeting. She was gonna bring back the library, what they found out about that, so. And then I have one resolution to read. Resolution 2022, approved to grant beer and liquor licenses. Whereas the City of Juneau has received applications from the following to sell malt beverages and liquor with the period ending June 30th, 2023, as shown below. Class A, beer applying as a limited liability company, Dollar General Store, number 6775, Golden Coke LLC, 331 East Center Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent, Imran Khan, agent address 609 Grandview Drive, Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, 53590. Class A beer and liquor applying as a limited liability company, Pig Wiggly, number 304, Yankee Pig Wiggly, number 304, 100 Southwestern Avenue, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent Daniel Yankee, address 329 North Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Class A beer and liquor applying as a limited liability company, Juneau 26 Inc., NPS Mart LLC, 470 North Main Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent Shivya Sapoka, agent address 214B North Main Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Class A beer, Class A liquor, cider only, applying as a corporation, Quick Trip, number 324, Quick Trip Incorporated, 210 South Main Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent Amanda J. Schultz. Agent address 215 Woodland Drive, Apartment 1, Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, 53916. Class B and liquor applying as a limited liability company, 1850s Inn LLC, 1850s LLC, address 172 East Oak Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent Christia Sermon. Agent address 126.5 Front Street, Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, 53916. Juneau Lanes LLC, Juneau Lanes LLC, 150 East Oak Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent Brent Bowman. Agent address 148 East Oak Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Chef Chance LLC, Chef Chance LLC, 500 Lincoln Drive, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent Chan Schaumburg. Agent address 1226 Hiawatha Drive, Beaver Dam, 53916. Rolling Stone Pizza Pub LLC, Rolling Stone Pizza Pub LLC, 153 East Oak Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent Anna Christensen. Agent address 103 Leonard Avenue, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Solomon's STR LLC, 112 East Oak Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent Donald Raphael. Agent address 5615 Grandview Drive, Greendale, Wisconsin, 53129. Class B beer and liquor applying as a partnership, Simple Bar and Grill. Simple Bar and Grill, 160 East Oak Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Class B liquor and beer and liquor applying as a corporation non-profit organization, Juneau American Legion, Juneau Post number 15 of the American Legion, Department of Wisconsin. Agent Jeremy Mason, 162 East Oak Street, Juneau, Wisconsin, 53039. Agent address North 6566 Weber View Drive, Grand Rapids, Wisconsin, 53039. Whereas the notice was published in the Beaver Dam Daily Citizen with 3 consecutive publications, and whereas the Public Safety Committee and the Juneau Police Department reviewed the above and both recommend approval of these applications pending compliance with Ordinance 5-08.040, and now therefore be resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 14th day of June 2022. I move for passage of Resolution 2022.
Second.
Motion by Schuster, second by Foodie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Schuster?
Aye.
Foodie?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Evans?
Aye.
Bratton?
Aye.
Merles?
Resolution 2020-22 has passed. Anything else for public safety, John?
Nope.
Public Works, David?
We did not meet.
Cable TV?
We did meet, and we went over ideas for recording. Some of them were Juneau Legion, Memorial Day observation, making a slide of citywide rummage sale, work with library director to publicize the library's Finding Finn activity, hold a discussion with ladies at City Hall about what's going on. It's really easy, it really is. Publicize center field movies coming up with the summer, and with Ashton Ziegler, to discuss construction of the fitness platform, which is being constructed in the city park. And maybe hold discussion with Mary Ann Zastro concerning the city garden plots. He reviewed the new video server. He had, made a couple calls, and now it is finally working as it should be. We raised the cameraman producer position to $15, and we are still looking for a cameraman. We did have one application that came in, and, you know, hopefully cameraman or maybe more. So, that's my report.
Questions for Jean? Rec committee. Okay.
CDA.
CDA did not meet.
Oh, excuse me, yes, I checked it off because we did not meet. Got ahead of myself.
The rec committee did meet. The concrete has been poured, and are the benches there? Has anybody seen the benches in the Wild Goose? But they've been ordered, the new benches for the Wild Goose Park. Ashton is still gonna solicit more bids for park signs and helping to put some park signs at the city park and at Vicky Park. So she is getting more quotes for that. We also talked about putting a drop box at the community center, and we're looking into that. Ashton is also getting some information regarding the mutual use agreement between Dodge and the city. So no decision was made on that, still need more information. And, yeah, all the summer programs are up and going, and she's busy, you know, baseball, pickleball, had a volleyball clinic. The biggest challenge rec director's having is getting summer help. So, still working on that. And that is the rec committee reports. Anybody?
Any questions for Jean?
Good report, yeah.
Okay, utility commission, Richard?
We had a excuse me, we had a meeting. Matt Castile from MSA joined us to talk about progress on the wastewater treatment plant project. And he reported that soil boring testing has been completed, and that work is nearing completion on the preliminary site plan, including pricing and projected delivery times. And their MSA is continuing to monitor the Clean Water Fund program and other available grant sources. Jim Vermillion and John Long from Sensient joined us to discuss contract issues and the wastewater treatment plant upgrade. The plant agrees with the contract proposals, but there are still some issues at the corporate level. So their attorneys there are not sure about a certain number of things. MSA is going to work with Sensient to add the requested changes by corporate so they can be submitted for approval. The utility department hired a new billing clerk, and I guess she's doing well. Nick Altman reported that there were two power outages last month. The outage that occurred on the eastern part of the city was caused by backfeed voltage from glass floss and has been resolved. The other outage was caused by an underground fault at a residence. Work is going to begin on moving power wiring underground on the East Oak Street section that will be upgraded once that starts. And that'll happen in the next few weeks. And he also reported that 4 customers were disconnected in May due to delinquent accounts. Peter DeLune reported that the DNR is requiring a permanent backup generator to be installed at well number 3. And the cost for this will be over $25,000, so the project has to be bid publicly. Northern Pipe recently did an inspection of water supplies in parts of the city and found 30 laterals that need further investigation for leaks. The water department recently rerouted water and sewer service to residents on Fair Street, and when the water was turned on, it was discovered that there was not a connection to the water main when it was installed some years ago. So they had to get that fixed. service lines. So resolution, I'm not sure why it says resolution slash ordinance.
That's what was received from MSA. They sent us that specifically.
Okay. Well, I'll read
I
it.
can amend it if need be and remove
I'll just read
ordinance.
what it says.
Yeah.
Resolution slash ordinance number 19-2022. Resolution authorizing execution of the Department of Natural Resources Principal Forgiveness Financial Assistance Agreement. Whereas the City of Juneau, the municipality, wishes to undertake a project to replace private lead service lines at residences, pre-K through 12 schools, and licensed and/or certified daycare centers identified as DNR number 4824-04, the project, and whereas the municipality has applied to the Safe Drinking Water Loan Program, this SDWLP, for financial assistance in the form of a loan made by the SDWLP to the municipality, of which all the principal will be forgiven at the time that loan disbursements are made to the municipality pursuant to the DNR Financial Assistance Agreement. And whereas the SDWLP has determined that it can provide a loan with principal forgiveness in an amount up to $555,000 that it has identified as being eligible for SDWLP funding. Now therefore, the city mayor and city clerk are authorized by and on behalf of the municipality to execute the Principal Forgiveness Financial Assistance Agreement that contains the terms and conditions of the SDWLP award for the project. The Principal Forgiven Financial Assistance Agreement is incorporated herein by this reference. I would move for passage of resolution / ordinance number 19-2022.
And I think it should be a resolution, because it is a resolution, and that's reflected in the next paragraph. So I would simply change it to what it is, which is a resolution.
Okay.
Delete the word ordinance.
Second.
Motion by Evans, second by Grattan. Further discussion? I have one. Are we omitting all private businesses in this?
This is what was received from MSA. Kylie forwarded this to me. This is how we get the reimbursement for the private side of the
Right.
lateral replacement.
But they're omitting private businesses. We have, I can tell you firsthand, we've got several downtown businesses that have lead water services that are utilizing that water to the public.
And here's my advice. My recommendation would be to include businesses, and the only exception to that would be if for some reason the Safe Drinking Water Loan Program excludes businesses, then you have to exclude businesses. I'm not sure one way or the other, but my advice would be that you would amend this to include businesses unless they're specifically excluded by this program.
I would
Okay.
advise that, yes. I would think that would be the way to go.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I'm not really familiar with this. But I'll make sure I get it forwarded over to Kylie, and she can, I can tell her what's, recommended, and, I know she got this directly from MSA, so I know they will not disperse any monies until this is signed. So if we wanna make, any changes, we'll do it right away. Cause
Well,
we've already gotten,
I certainly don't want to stall this, but I would certainly like to include the private businesses
Right, of course.
if it's allowed.
yep.
I guess that's, I don't wanna put this on the back burner by any means,
No.
because we've already got people that are plowing forward with it already.
And the city's already gotten invoices to pay.
Yeah, so here's the case, I wanna make sure this goes through, but I'm a little confused why they don't include private businesses. because
Okay.
I know we have a few
Yeah,
here in
of
town,
course.
so.
I will touch base with her right away in the morning, and you know, she can contact MSA and get details, and then I will amend this as necessary, and I'll let you know.
I know the health and welfare situation with the daycares and, you know, where their
Mhm.
children are more subjected to lead poisoning than adults, but, yeah, certainly when you have local pubs distributing water for mixing drinks, washing glasses, et cetera, there's every bit of hazard there, and it just seems like it's
Right.
not spelled out here, like, I don't know if they're looking at it that they're a money-making entity, that they can pay their own, or what the deal is. I don't know what the logic is behind this.
Yeah,
And this is the first time I've ever seen it worded this way.
Yeah, I'm not,
Because I will tell you, our water department has visited downtown businesses and have put them on notice that they do have lead services that they have to replace.
Mhm.
And I think they're all under the impression that they can get this
they
funding.
qualify, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yep, I'll make sure I clarify that and, you know, amend the resolution as needed to, you know, include, you know, private
We have to
businesses.
amend the resolution
Right.
on record here.
Right.
Yeah, someone,
So you gotta read it again?
No.
No, you don't have to read it again,
But somebody should move to amend it.
You made the motion to accept with the amendment, including small businesses or including businesses?
Unless they are specifically excluded from this program.
So I will amend my motion to include, small businesses and the way, Attorney Griggs described it, unless they're excluded by the
DNR?
SDWLP, just 'cause I like saying that.
okay.
There you
I'll second his amendment.
Okay,
Got it.
roll call vote on the amendment.
Evans,
Aye.
Groton,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Foodie,
Aye.
Moroes,
Aye.
and Schuster.
We don't have to take another vote on the resolution now, do
No, because you got the
we?
amended.
We
You
voted on
approved the amended the way you
resolution.
you should have.
All right, very good. Okay, anything else to report, Richard?
No, that's enough.
Cheryl?
I don't think so. There were 4 of us that attended a WPPI dinner down in Oconomowoc, and electric vehicles are going to become an issue. The WPPI is still doing well. They're looking at the future, and there are funds available right now that they have that the board, the directors will be looking at how to what they should be doing with that money, particularly with the higher rate of power supply right now, and whether they will be disseminating it to communities and municipalities that are part of WPPI, or how exactly they're gonna handle that. But right now, which is why they put those funds away, but they are looking to remain very solvent and serving communities and trying to not encourage fear with the conversation that you hear on the news of potential brownouts and blackouts and that type of thing this summer, but the truth of electric vehicles coming in and that type of thing is definitely something that they have a pulse on of what's going on, so.
3 years after these vehicles are out there on the road, those batteries are gonna fail, and what are you gonna do with those batteries? That's contaminated waste right there, so everything you did green gets kinda nixed by, you know, trying to dispose of a battery.
Only 30% of those vehicles is recyclable.
And the sad part about it is, with all the elimination of all our coal generation, at least in the Midwest here, we're relying heavily on natural gas, and hang on, because natural gas rates are going to go up extremely high. And we do have somebody that sits on the board with WPPI that's gonna try and nix any kind of excessive increases, but it's just a matter of the way it's going right now. So expect this winter to be getting more, heat your homes, and then flip side of that, natural gas generating your electricity, electric rates will go up as well, because the purchase power that our utility purchases will be higher, and those rates will be reflected on what you see on your bill every month. So unfortunately, it's a vicious circle. But yeah, it's always good just to go to those meetings and network with people and what have you, and get their side of things. All the utilities are all in the same boat, municipal utilities throughout Wisconsin. I think we've got 48 of them, and some in the UP and some down in Iowa right now that are all municipal-owned utilities. We're doing much better than the investor-owned utilities as far as keeping costs down and whatever. So there is some value in having your own local electric utility, and let's hope we can continue to keep that. And they kind of assure us that the people they got at the helm keep a pulse, or keep a finger on the pulse of that, and keep an eye on that, and keep us in the loop on what was going on beyond what we would ever know. So there is some value belonging to WPPI. Anything else?
I have two other things. First one is, please continue to pay your bills. Electricity and power and utilities are not free. And common one, flushable wipes are not flushable. Just learned.
Any old business thing? New business? Approved provincial licenses for 45 days. Sandra J. Smith recommended approval. Carissa L. Kellyan, Autumn R. Rennock, Brandon A. Stager, and Jennifer Coombs. So motion to approve the provisional licenses for 45 days.
Second.
Motion by Schuster, second by Foodie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Provincial licenses have been approved. Jane, would you like to read the regular bartender license?
Regular bartender's licenses for 2022 that expired June 30th, 2023. Jeremy Mason, Edward Spitz, Gerald Jornis, Travis Thorpe, Jania Butler, Stephanie Jacobs, Janet Merkis, John Hatter, Abigail Siegel, Tura Vance, Lisa Sapinski, Lisa Berger, Haley Farina, Charles Dinger, Tina McQueen, Jennifer Doe, Carly Wobilliard, Genocide, Noel, Sherry Schmidt, Daniel Yankee, Della Shoppy, Christine Retzlaff, Holly Tank, Erica Friedenberg, Brett Bowman, Callista McDonald, Donna Chase, Rachel Merkis, Carrie Herman, Brian Cook, Sadie Gregory Utek, Emily Jurek, Suni Madden, Ricky Budowitz, Ashley Peterman, Brenda Kulkin, Amber Pazik, Crystal Betens, Derek Kolotsky, Rebecca Grady, Elizabeth Hathaway, Rochelle Muth, Amanda Schultz, Carol Solner, should that be Brandon Sager, or is that Brandon Stager? Oh, that is Brandon, okay. Autumn Rennock, Carissa Killian, Sandra Smith, Jennifer Coombs, Tyler Marks, Zoe Hall, Heidi Brandt, Ashley McLean. The only question I had, Daniel Yankee, does he need a license as he's the agent for, and Brett Bowman? They're both agents for their,
I think they got licenses last year.
might want to just find out if they don't need one as the agent.
Yeah, I can double check for sure.
I move to approve the regular bartender's licenses that expired June 30th, 2023.
Second.
Motion by Foodie, second by Morose. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Any other business tonight? Entertain the motion to adjourn. Motion by Schuster.
Second.
Second by Foodie. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. This meeting is adjourned.